Welcome to the Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. I'm so happy you found us. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on I-Fiber One News Radio, KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9.
Well, good Friday morning. It's going to be another hot one as we move into the weekend. Let's welcome in Spencer Hughes. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Happy Friday to you.
Friday, indeed. It's a big-time Friday. We had a lot of news come in from yesterday and during the overnight that we'll share with you today. Also, some more conversations. We have Dr. Apostle from the Shelton School District of a COVID update for you. Those new social gathering rules that take effect Monday. We'll have some more details on that. Unemployment claims as well. And next week is Paddle Safe Week, so we can talk about that a little bit.
Mason County Public Health was notified of 7 additional Mason County residents that tested positive for COVID-19. This brings the total to 79 positive cases in Mason County. Mason County Public Health is continuing contact interviews. The patients, 4 males between 40 and 60 and 3 females between 40 and 50, are currently isolating at home.
And we heard this yesterday, but starting Monday, Washington state counties in the third phase of a 4-stage coronavirus reopening plan, which includes Mason and Thurston, will have to limit indoor and outdoor social gatherings to no more than 10, and that's down from the current 50. The new restrictions announced yesterday by the governor. Restrictions on gatherings for the 17 counties in Phase 3, though, does not apply to spiritual services, weddings, and funerals at this time. Under the Democrats' new directive, all live indoor and outdoor entertainment would also be banned. This announcement comes just days after the governor announced that a statewide pause for counties looking to advance from their current stage of economic reopening will continue through at least July 28th. Yikes, Spencer.
Yeah, that's a big change.
That is a major ratchet down.
It really is. And there's people worried of another stay-at-home order. I hope to goodness it doesn't come to that, because we did that as long as we could, and businesses almost collapsed. So hopefully it won't get to that. And hopefully if they just limit the numbers that they currently have allowable, that'll do the trick here.
Stephanie was telling me yesterday that, it's you have the only way we're not going to get another lockdown or stay home or whatever is if everybody wears masks. She was talking to a friend of hers who is in another part of the country, and it's like fully masked no matter what. Even if you are alone walking your dog, you should have a mask, or you could face fines. If you're on the beach, you can lay there maybe with your face coverings on, or just, super distanced from folks. But, unless it's 100% adoption, or, whatever the threshold is of people who legitimately cannot breathe through these masks, if it's not at 100% minus that, it's gonna happen again, don't you think?
Yeah, and what's tricky too is, and I'm not criticizing obviously people who can't wear them for health reasons, but it's being abused because businesses are too afraid to ask for your paperwork. They're not going to ask for your medical records. If I were a barista at a Starbucks and somebody said I have asthma, I'm not wearing a mask because of that. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? I'm not going to go beyond that. So that's the tricky part, is that anybody, and apparently a lot of people are doing that, claiming medical reasons, whether they're legitimate or not, who knows? But, the person there making $10 an hour is not going to be, carding everybody for their medical records to see if in fact they've been diagnosed with asthma or have cancer or have something. So anybody could just say, stage 4 cancer here. I'm not wearing a mask.
Yeah. And if somebody may, you don't want to think the worst in folks, but somebody may decide to go into a business maskless just to cause a stink, just to film it or something like that. They're doing it just to be spiteful of the process, perhaps. There are obviously legitimate reasons there. Folks cannot breathe through 2 layers of
Sure.
fabric.
Oh, no, absolutely.
But looking at the population overall, that number is very small.
Yeah. No, a lot of people are trying to get in under that exemption because, like you said, for whatever reason, they either are uncomfortable wearing it, and I think we all are. I don't know anybody that enjoys wearing them all day long.
It's uncomfortable.
And then, not to say that there aren't people, like you said, that have bona fide health conditions, and I feel bad for them because they're going to be undermined and everyone's going to question them. And it's just kind of one bad apple ruins it, ruins all of them because then it'll make everybody suspect. The Washington State Parks boating program wants paddlers to have fun on the water but be safe at the same time. The Paddle Safe Week campaign, July 19th through the 25th, focuses on safe paddling practices and safety on Washington's marine and fresh waterways throughout the year. According to the Outdoor Foundation's 2019 special report on paddle sports and safety, paddle sports continue to grow in popularity, especially kayaking, which my mother-in-law did with the kids the other day. I think they're going back Tuesday. They had a good time. Also,
that would be something. That would be something that you can get away with less than 10 people. Paddle sports.
Yeah, I mean, they each had their own kayak.
Just 2 people.
Yeah, and these were, individual ones, so they were even further apart. Yeah, that's right. Stand-up paddling is also popular. 23% of kayakers and 31% of stand-up paddlers have considered taking formal training to further their skills. Well, according to national and state recreational boating accident data, paddlecraft are at a higher risk of capsizing and swamping. Since 2012, close to half of all boating fatalities in Washington state involved paddlecraft. Nationally, where cause of death was known, 79% of paddle-related fatalities from 2015 to 2017 involved drownings. Of those drowning victims, 74% were not wearing a life jacket, which goes back to everything we ever talk about here, that even if you're, you consider yourself a pro swimmer, an Olympic, level swimmer, accidents happen. You get knocked unconscious, you get dragged under, whatever, you should have a life jacket on. 74% not wearing a life jacket.
Wow. Washington State saw a surge in new claims for unemployment insurance, as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to hurt the economy. Seattle Times reports that for the week ending July 11, workers filed 40,466 new or initial claims for unemployment insurance, according to data released Thursday by the state's Unemployment Security Department. That is a 42.5% increase from the prior week, and a marked change after 6 weeks when claims either fell or rose only modestly. Nationally, initial weekly claims fell roughly 0.8% to 1.3 million. The Labor Department reported. Now, on this week ending July 11, I am going to say that a little bit of that number are the state workers who were furloughed, who can apply for unemployment insurance. I mean, that furlough order just went into effect, right around that same time.
Yeah, it could very well be that those are counted in there.
That's a thing that they're eligible to do. They make those initial claims. They not only can be eligible for a day's worth of pay, state pay, but also they're eligible at least through the end of the month to get that extra $600 a week that's going on through the feds, which I did see. We've talked about this a little bit. I did see that there's some movement on that up on Capitol Hill in the Senate. I don't know if it's the HEROES Act specifically that the House passed about a month ago that's going to be picked up, or they're starting to rework some things, but it sounds like they may extend that additional benefit, not maybe at that level, but at least have that for a little bit longer, as we see cases all across the country are really starting to rise. So that's what I would say on that big number. That is a big increase, but I would say it correlates close to what the state workers were filing on that furlough day. I think
you're right. A few quick reminders. We got word that there is a countywide outdoor burn restriction in place. They will be in place now until further notice. Also, this Monday, contractor crews working for the Washington State Department of Transportation are scheduled to restore traffic to a rebuilt portion of the Shelton-Madlock Road adjacent to US 101. Travelers should expect up to a 15-minute delay as crews make that change.
Well, again, on the show today, Dr. Alex Apostle. We'll also have some more conversations, regional news to look at as well. It's all coming up on this Friday. Good Friday to you. Daybreak Show continues.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Well, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes here on the Daybreak Show. Time now to check in with the superintendent with the Shelton schools. It's Dr. Alex Apostle. Hey, Alex, how are you doing?
Good morning, Jeff. Good to be here.
I know that we've talked about this over the last couple of weeks, and the results and information from the subcommittees just came into you on the 15th, just 2 days ago. But have you had a chance to look over anything or gotten any of the bullet points by what the community is looking ahead to for the start of the school year?
Well, great question. In about 10 minutes or so, I have a meeting with all the subcommittees, and we're kind of doing a dress rehearsal presentation. Pretty excited about that. We've had tremendous involvement by the community and staff, and I'm looking forward to the presentations this morning. We will be having a study session with the board on July 21st, presenting the plan on the 28th at the board meeting, 28th of July, and hopefully the board will give us the green light to move ahead. And we'll be also presenting the reopening plan on the it'd be on the July 30th at the open forum. So We've got to go through a process. The board needs to approve it. They need to pass a resolution to approve it. But today is a very important day for all of us, where we present the plan. And I know the subcommittees are pretty anxious to do that. They've done great work. I've reviewed some of the plans, and they look like they're on target, but we'll know more after today.
What are some of the other states or school districts across the country that have started to show off their plans a little bit? Are there any of those that you kind of look at and go, that would work well for Shelton, possibly, or that one likely would be tough to implement?
Well, as I look across the country and throughout the state, there's great similarity in the proposed plans of reopening schools. The one thing that we're focusing on, as well as many other school districts, is we want a robust online program that meets the needs of our students and families. That's something that we're very concerned about. And of course, our face-to-face kind of scheduling, and we'll be talking about which direction to go in that regard. But having a presence online, one that provides everything that students need in terms of getting a quality education, that's really something we're pushing real hard to do the very best in that arena. So it's going to be kind of a hybrid model, I'm sure, online and face-to-face. Right now, things are changing rather rapidly, and so we need to develop a plan that can adjust quickly if necessary.
Well, that's exactly what I was just going to say. When we were talking about construction issues or moving kids from portables to classrooms or things like that, you kind of knew there would be an end date, or you knew that there would be some sort of finality there. This virus is so up in the air and seems to be changing so rapidly across the country, and in here in Mason County too, with increased numbers. It's just hard to read those tea leaves a few months from now.
Well, they are, Jeff, but I will maintain something that we have supported from the very beginning, that the health and safety of our kids, our families, and our staff is of paramount importance. And we will move forward with any plan with that constantly in our minds. I want to make sure that we're doing everything possible to keep everybody safe. And, whatever plan we come up with, that's going to be foundational.
It's going to be quite the sets of conversations moving forward. I got to ask you, I just saw on Facebook, and you may not have heard of this, but maybe you have. Somebody says on Facebook, and you know how you can trust a lot of the things you read on there, but somebody said they found a car in the football field. Is that true?
I have not heard that, no.
I will have to look into that. There was a post on one of those Shelton sites of maybe a senior prank from decades ago.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, they did dig up an old car.
Yeah.
On the football field, yes.
What the heck? What's the story there?
I have no idea. It was Jeff Feeney, our architect, presented that at the board meeting on Tuesday. It was pretty remarkable, but it was pieces of a car that had been buried there, I guess, for years.
Oh my gosh!
So it is true. I'm sorry, that is true.
Well, hey, I bet the person, whoever was on the big piece of machinery, when they hit down and heard metal, they were thinking the worst.
I think so too.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. That was pretty odd, I would say.
All right, Doctor, I know you've got meetings to get to, and we'll let you get off to them, but we'll check in again next week with you and find out more news from the Shelton School District.
Thank you, Jeff.
Have a great
one.
Very
much. From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Well, again, good morning to you as the Daybreak Show rolls on this, Friday morning here. Spencer, good morning.
Good morning, TGIF.
It's going to be hot out there. You can make sure you go get a good lather up if you want to get a workout in. You know, last week we talked about the change in our daily lives since the pandemic began. One thing you told us was that, you know, you would go to the grocery store and maybe even multiple times a day, or you have these routines where you go to the grocery store, then you stop by and get some lumpia, then you go get some gas, or whatever you're going to do. I mean, it's a routine. And for many folks, that routine included going to the gym. But now we're in coronavirus, and there's some new surveys out.
Yeah, there's a new survey of 2,000 Americans showing they're feeling the burn in the comfort of their own home. And 3 in 5 say that gyms will go the way of the Betamax, way of the dodo bird. And I don't know.
Betamax.
See, they went out of they went.
That
by
reference
the way,
doesn't even make sense to a million people out there.
It's funny.
You could just as easily say go the way of MySpace.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Nobody knows what that
exactly.
means.
I should have changed it. I was just reading off the cue card.
That's funny, Betamax.
But it's true though that more and more people are realizing. I think that's been the trend. Gyms, you remember, used to be like a thing that you'd pay like some crazy amount every month. Then they went to the $10 gyms and made it more accessible.
Yep.
And now a lot of people with coronavirus are saying I could just get some equipment in my spare room of my house or a little corner of my bedroom and do a lot of these things as well.
We do a lot of this at home now. We haven't had gym memberships. Stephanie did many years ago, but I've never had, I don't think, a legit gym membership like this. You know, I saw the old Toys R Us in Olympia shut down when Toys R Us shut down, and that building had been empty for a long, long time. Well, before the virus locked us down, I noticed that there was a sign there that a new gym, a national chain gym, was going to move into that location at the Toys R Us. And then maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, we drove by there, which we do often, and I just never noticed. But I looked, and the signs were down, and there hasn't been much work or trucks there that we'd noticed in the past. So, very tough to open a gym in the middle of a pandemic, one.
Oh, yeah.
And 2, you're right. When people are looking to be socially distanced, a lot of folks are out of jobs. They can't afford these memberships, which is unfortunate because the membership in a case like, in any case, really, it helps keep the doors open and the lights on. They understand that you have 100 members, at any given point, maybe 3 are in there working out. The rest of them help to pay the bills for the lights. But for a modest investment, you can get pretty good gym equipment at your house, or you go outside and walk, or even you start small with just, cans of beans as your weights.
No,
there are
absolutely.
options out there for sure.
Yeah, and this isn't good news for gyms after all this is over. 70% of those surveyed said they're now confident they can stay fit without going to the gym, and that they plan to cancel their membership. 70% are realizing they're getting by without it. And when this is over, gyms are going to be in trouble one way or the other, even if they're allowed to fully reopen. Another thing I'm wondering, too, is what is the situation at gyms that are open? Do you have to, does the mask rule apply in there when you're on the treadmill running, running at a high clip? To have that on your face, I don't know if people can exercise fully with those masks on. Another thing is, I know at least myself, when I was on the treadmill, when I used to go to the gym, I'd be out of breath a lot, and I'd be huffing and puffing. And, even people who are in shape when they're running, you see them, kind of the spittle coming out of their mouths, and they're sweating like crazy. And I'm wondering how that works during a pandemic or following that, when you have people that are exhaling a lot because of all the exercise they're doing, and whether or not you can wear a mask.
I am, like I mentioned at the beginning, I have not gone into a gym in a very long time. But I would assume that it is similar to the rules of a restaurant. Yeah. Meaning, it's like, pretend that that your dinner table or your meal is the piece of equipment you're on. Mm-hmm. If you're able, when you're walking from gym equipment to gym equipment, maybe you have your mask on. When you get to your station, you can take it off if the exercise deems it necessary for breathing. If you're on a treadmill, when you're usually just looking forward. You're not looking in the eyes of the person across from you, so you're not like sharing those breaths. But then again, you don't know about how the plumes get out there. And perhaps spread it. It's just a lot of unknowns in tight quarters. Yeah, and there is a lot of heavy breathing, and it's a tough one. The thing that this conversation leads into is 70% say they think they can do that. Okay, but of that 70%. What's the percentage of people that have the motivation to continue to do it? Or is that treadmill that you're going to spend $1,000 for, which, if you're spending $100 a month at a gym, it's paid off in a year. You don't want that to turn into a close hanger. Yeah. You have to actually use the equiment. You don't buy it and then go, hey, now I'm fit. You have to actually use it. And we go in ebbs and flows here. Nobody's perfect. We'll go where we'll use the equipment and we'll use it hard and heavy for a month or 3 months or whatever, and then it'll go away for a little while, and then we'll come back to it and ebb and flow. But you got to have the motivation. But it's the same motivation as what you had forcing yourself to go to the gym every day.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And people who didn't go to the gyms and use the equipment there may or may not be motivated enough to, start one like in their house, to start exercising. But although,
I was just going to say, if all these gyms are closing, there may be some good sales on equipment.
Oh, the entrepreneurial mind there at work.
I'm just saying.
And it looks like it's building people's confidence too, which is interesting because I'm glad to see I wasn't the only one intimidated when I used to go to a gym. But 65% of men, 55% of women revealed they often feel intimidated when working out at a traditional, public gym or even private gym with other people.
You look at yourself in the mirror with your droopy, goofy arm muscles, and then you look next to you, and it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lyle Alzado that are working out next to you. Why wouldn't you feel self-conscious about that? It's everybody's journey is their own, and there are definitely things you can do at home that will get you there if you're not comfortable going to a gym. That is interesting. 70% of folks say they're about done with that. Wow.
It's a lot of people.
Stephanie just said that sometimes you can check out equipment from gyms too and test it to see if you like it.
Oh, wow. I'll let you guys do that. I'll check out the Switch.
We'll do that. We'll write. He said he'll take the Switch. All right, more Daybreak Show is coming up.
Thank you so much for listening to today's Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. Again, I'm so happy and honored you found us and chose to listen. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of some of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on I-501 News Radio KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Thank you so much again, and talk with you next time.